This is a CBC podcast.
So there's a new residence in Sydney dedicated expressly to young students wanting to work in the community with other young students in a faith-based background. The house on the Esplanade was once the residence of Father Greg MacLeod, who you know is a priest, a professor, social activist on Cape Breton Island. He founded many community-based businesses, but he valued ecumenism, service, and learning. So this house, which is called Greg MacLeod House, will be a space for Cape Breton University students to pursue those goals as well. It is an interfaith group, and leading the project, leaders from many faith groups, including one of the organizers we have with us this afternoon, the Reverend Alison Etter from Knox United Church in Glace Bay. She's on the line with us this afternoon to tell us more about this new community. Good afternoon, Reverend Etter. Welcome to Main Street.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Tell me about the group that got together to put this house together.
I think it did start with Father Greg MacLeod, who, as many of your listeners will know, was a priest, a professor, and a social activist in Cape Breton with a passion for community development. He also had a passion for young people. And it was his kind of dream to start a student group in Cape Breton modeled after Newman societies, which are Roman Catholic student groups across the world, I suppose. But Father Greg's vision was to form an ecumenical group. So he had invited leaders from several different churches, Roman Catholic and Protestant, to work together on this idea. And we've been working at it for about 4 years, I think, a number of different priests, ministers, and lay people from different churches.
And somehow you acquired a building.
Exactly. We are so grateful to Father Dan Doucette for donating a home. It's a historic home on the Esplanade in downtown Sydney. It was the home where Father Greg lived, and then Father Dan lived in the home as well. So it's kind of a duplex type of style. It's a perfect home for our project, which is to provide a home for 6 students. Because the house, it has 2 kitchens, it has a number of common areas and a beautiful backyard, as well as private bedrooms for the students.
So what is the concept for this house? And you're calling it the Father Greg MacLeod House.
Exactly. We wanted to honor Father Greg with the name of the house because it ties in so closely to his vision and his work. We're going to be inviting 6 students, CBU students, to move into the house beginning in September, ideally. Of course, it's been a bit challenging with COVID, but we are hoping 6 students will be living in the house in September. They will form a community together. So part of the opportunity for them is to form friendships, to learn from one another, where they are coming from different Christian churches and backgrounds. That's part of the vision. And then the other part is that they would give back to the wider community through volunteering, through service, whether it's at their churches or different community organizations, or they may spearhead some of their own projects once we get going, things that would serve the community, serve their neighbors.
So you would have to get the right people in that house. What are you looking for in your applicants?
This is absolutely important. We are looking for, first of all, students. You do need to be a CBU student to be eligible, and we're looking for students who are interested in exploring and deepening Christian faith. That is broadly defined, so any people from any church or Christian background are very, very welcome to apply. Probably the most important thing is an openness to living in community and to serving others. We're going to be asking the students to gather once a week to share a meal, and as I mentioned, to share some of their time helping others. And also we're looking for students with a willingness to learn and be open to differences of opinion, different ways of understanding the Christian faith. We had met with a leader who worked with the Newman Society in another community, and he said, whatever the student believes right now is less important than their willingness to learn and grow. It's really one of the goals of our project.
You are taking applications, as you say, you are taking applications now. It seems like a long way away, but September 1st is 90 days away.
Exactly. We have received a few. It's just been very difficult. I know that their plans aren't firm. But I'm inviting students, even if you think you have just an inkling of an interest, to complete an application. We're looking for a range of students, diversity, men and women, and a diversity of programs and backgrounds and so on. So probably the easiest way to contact us is email gregmcleodhouse@gmail.com, and we can send an application form to you.
This is the sort of thing that it might not be evident, the impact of it, until years and years down the road, because young people change, but they do tend to keep those relationships, the ones that they made when they were in their late teens, early 20s. What is the long-term goal of the Father Greg McLeod House?
Thanks for a great question. I think it is twofold. For the students themselves, I think this is a marvelous opportunity. You mentioned the relationships they will form, which may be lifelong, the learning and opportunity for growth. As well, there's an opportunity to learn leadership skills and lots of opportunities to connect with the community. I think COVID especially has made us all aware of the kind of isolation many people are living with, and the opportunity to be a community together does have life-changing potential for the students who live in the house. But I also believe the house will be a gift to the wider community, a connection point for community members to meet students. The students will be going out in the community to help others, and if COVID regulations allow, I hope that the students will also be inviting people in to get to know them, hosting meals or get together as opportunities to meet with lots of people in the community, and to form real partnerships between students and people of all ages in our community.
You talked about the gift that Father Dan Doucette gave of the building. What about the costs? Has there been some fundraising going on behind the scenes?
Yes, and we are actively fundraising right now. We're seeking 10 founding donors to contribute $3,000 each. We're approaching a number of groups and churches and so on to see if they can make that initial contribution. That will give us enough funding to start the project well. The house is in excellent condition, but we need to make a few minor changes to it, make sure it's ready to welcome students, and then cover costs such as insurance. The students will contribute, of course, but we want to make sure it's very affordable for students. So we need some support from the community to cover some of the costs of that house.
So once again, if people are interested or they have questions, what should they do?
The easiest way is to contact gregmcleodhouse@gmail.com. That's if they wanted to get in touch by email. They're also welcome to contact myself, Reverend Allison Etter, or Father Bill Burke at St. Marguerite Bourgeois Parish. Many of your listeners will know him, and he would be happy to speak to anyone about this project as well.
Well, thank you for being with us today, Reverend Etter.
Thank you for having me.
And that's Reverend Allison Etter, one of the organizers of the Father Greg McLeod House.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.